Multiples of 10 in area distributive property. So when we're looking at distributive property, especially with area or multiples of 10, we're going to, if we're doing 4 times 20, I'm going to break up that 20 into a 10 and a 10 because 10 and 10 are easy numbers to work with. They're multiples of 10. So then this one shape right here would be 4 times 10, which is 40. And this would be 4 times 10, that is 40, right? Remember in distributive property, my first step is I'm going to break it apart. Then I'm going to multiply. And then my last step is I'm going to add it back together. So now I'm going to add 40 plus 40, which is 80. And then, so 4 times 20 is equal to 80. All right, let's look at this one. So I have 7 times 20. So I'm going to make my 20 into a 10 and a 10. So I'm going to have 10 and then 10. And then I'm going to say 7. So again, remember I said first step, break it apart. Second step, I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply 7 times 10, which is 70. 7 times 10, which is 70. And now I'm going to add it back together. As I add it back together, 70 plus 70 would give me 140. So that's how it works. Remember, step 1, break it apart. Step 2, multiply. Step 3, add it back together. Let's try another one. So 5 times 60, I'm going to break my 6 into a 30 and a 30. So 5 times 30 is going to give me 150. 5 times 30 is 150. Then I'm going to add, right? Step 1, break it apart. Step 2, multiply. Step 3, now I'm going to add it back together. So I'm going to say 150 plus 150 would give me 300. All right, let's continue with the practice. Remember, at any point, you can pause the video and practice it on your own to see if you understand it. But remember, with a distributive property, there's only 3 steps. First, break apart one of the numbers. Second step, multiply. Third step, add them back together. All right, here, of course, I'm going to break the biggest number apart, which is 40. I'm going to break the 40 into a 20 and a 20. 20 plus 20 is 40, right? These two numbers are going to add to give me 40. So 20 plus 20 is 40. So now I'm going to say 6 times 20 plus 6 times 20. 6 times 20 is, 6 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. And then I just bring that 0 down. So I have 120. Again, I'm going to repeat that process. 6 times 2 is 12. And then my 0, I just bring it down. I have 120. Now I'm going to add it back together. 120 plus 120 is going to give me 240. So 6 times 40 is 240. Again, my steps are what? Break it apart, multiply, and then add it back together. All right, so we can use this property to find the area of a rectangle. First, you're going to break apart. Remember, we've been talking about that. Break apart into smaller rectangles. Then I'm going to find the sum of the areas of the smaller rectangles. So let's practice this. So I have 5 times 43. So I'm going to break apart that 43. I am going to break it into a what? A 40 and a 3, right? Because those are numbers easy to work with. I'm going to break it into tens if possible. So 5 times 40 and 5 times 3. Well, 5 times 40 is going to be, I know 5 times 4 is 20, and then I bring down my 0, that's 200. 5 times 3 is 15, and now I'm going to add it back together. So 200 plus 15 is 215. So the area of this shape is 215. Again, I'm going to break apart the biggest number, and then I'm going to do my steps. Break it apart, multiply, and then add it back together. All right, let's look at this one. So again, look, they started with 27. They broke the 27 into a what? A 20 and a 7, because they want to break it into tens. Tens are easy to work with. 4 times 20, 4 times 7. 4 times 20, I know 4 times 2 is 8. Bring my 0 down, so that would be 80. 4 times 7 is 28, right? And now I'm going to do what? I'm going to add them together. So I'm going to say 8. I know 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. So I have 108. So the area of this shape is 108. Let's continue to practice. Remember, we're just doing the distributive property. We're applying it to area. But remember, all we're doing is the same steps that we've always done with the distributive property, which is first, break it apart. Second step, multiply. Last step, add it together. All right, let's practice with 62. I'm going to break it into a what? A 60 and a 2, right? Because they're easy numbers to work with. So I'm going to break it into a 60 and a 2. Remember, first step with the distributive property, break apart the bigger number. So now I'm going to say 7 times 60 and 7 times 2. Well, I know that 7 times 6 is 42, and then I just need to bring down that 0. So that would be 420. And then 7 times 2 is 14. Now I'm going to add them back together on my last step. So 420 plus 14, well, 0 plus 4 is 4. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then I just need to bring my 4, and I have 434. So the area here is 434. Again, at any point, pause the video, practice this. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at this with a distributive property. All right, so pause the video, try these equations. Again, it's the distributive property. Practice, 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 and you will get better at math. Also, feel free to follow me on any of these different websites, and also don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful day.